All right, guys, well, I'm back today with one of the best budget red dots under $70, the brand new Sealy T3. I keep doing videos on budget red dots just because the technology continues to improve, and every once in a while you find a company like Sealy that just is top tier at an affordable price. There are very few companies that I've seen like Sealy in the optics category that just continuously improve and put out really good optics at affordable prices with a ton of technology, and then on top of that include discount codes for my viewers. This is just a solid company and I'm a huge fan. So this is their brand new T3 Micro Red Dot. It comes with the extended riser or the high profile riser for the AR15 or similar platform, and also comes with a low profile riser in the box for something like an AK platform or where you want something a little bit lower down. There are a lot of different options, and this optic is incredibly versatile. The greatest thing about this is it's competing with some top tier red dots when you look at the specs and features right off the bat. This is a 50,000 hour battery life optic, so it's going to be using that same diode as a lot of those other ones, as well as an auto on and auto off red dot that truly works well. I've seen some other budget auto on and auto off red dots that need a lot of work, or after a certain period of time permanently turn off. This one truly is an auto on, auto off red dot, so I just pulled it out of the box, and this is how you'll receive it. At that point, you'll hit down the plus button to turn it on, and you can see it gets insanely bright, which is another nice feature. At this point, once it turns on, you can actually just set it and forget it. Put it on the brightness setting you want for a personal defense inside or using it outside, and then after it sits for about, I think 1 to 3 minutes, it's going to automatically turn off to save batteries. But the minute you pick up your rifle or touch the optic, it's automatically going to turn back on, allowing you to use this for a personal defense situation without fumbling with buttons. It makes it really nice. Now, Sealy also has the T10, which I fell in love with. They're selling for about $85 right now. This one comes in at $70, but I've got a 9% off code. And when you look at that code, it's actually going to drop the price down to about $63.69 with free shipping. I mean, the best, absolute best budget red dot for the money under that price. So you can see the emitter stays reasonably buried out of the way. It does stick up just slightly, but it doesn't really obscure your view. One thing about the T3 that the T10 has that the T3 doesn't is protected turrets. So you can see these turrets are exposed. We will be doing the water bottle test to see if that matters. I don't think it will. But if you were looking at the T3 and T10, I feel like the T10 is a slightly better option because it feels more protected. The buttons are located on the top of the T10 rather than on the side, and it just feels a little bit more protected. One thing about the T10, though, it has a slight bluish hue in the glass. This one is incredibly clear glass, so it actually has a little bit clear glass. But that's due to a lot of the reflective coating on the end of it. So the T10 is going to have more than this T3, but it's still really clear and it gets plenty bright. I think the T10 gets slightly brighter, again, because more reflective coating. They're using the exact same diode, so you get more bluish hue with the other one, but you get a slightly brighter dot. But this one is, I mean, insanely bright, perfect for every single lighting condition I've seen. So, I mean, this is absolutely great. I just wanted to note some differences between the Sealy T10 and T3 if you were a little bit confused on why they have almost identical optics. There are some slight differences, some cost savings in this one, but for $63.69, you cannot go wrong. This is absolute, hands down, one of the best ones I've used. So I've had it on and off the rifle. I kind of packaged it back up to show you guys how it comes and what it comes with, to talk about the specs and features. But enough talking about that. I mean, I've fallen in love with this, but you know what we have to do? The water bottle test where we beat this thing up and see how it survives. Let's head down to the range and give that a shot. Now for the water bottle test. If you're unfamiliar, that's where we beat up the optic with a full bottle of water. This applies G-forces and shock to the optic. We've actually destroyed a good number of optics doing this, broke mounts off, walked mounts loose, so this is a really good test that a lot survive, but some do fail, and I feel like it's the perfect hybrid. So we'll be shooting 3 rounds to confirm 0, then we'll beat it up, and then we'll see if it shifts 0 over time. I say anything smaller than the size of my hand group-wise is an absolute pass. Anything smaller than than the size of my fist is like top tier, next level, good job on these budget red dots. Also want to give a huge shout out to Callaway Ballistics again for donating that 9mm ammo to help just make this video, make it possible. They just dropped prices on some Reman 9mm, and they have a free shipping option with the code 704 Tactical, over $200 if you use that code during checkout. Now let's blast these first 3 shots and then beat it up and see what it does. So here are our first 3 shots, a little bit high. I was aiming right at the 4. We are going to beat it up and see if this shifts over time. This should be good. Now let's beat this thing up and see if it shifts 0. I'm not going to cut it any slack. Here we go. Whack it on the sides. Right there on the push buttons too. This should cause some damage if it's going to break right there. On the top, the sides again, the mount. Whoo! First 3 shots. And we'll beat this up some more. All right, I lost the dot. I'm gonna check it out. So what I did was I accidentally started knocking the brightness level down, so I couldn't find the dot. I put it in the night vision mode, so I thought it was off, but I actually just, as I was whacking it, knocked the brightness down. So we will continue the test and see how it does. Now let's keep beating it up. See if it shifts 0. Not cut any slack. Last beat down. Want to make sure it'll survive. Hit it real good on the sides. The mounts. Oh man. Let's go take a look. Guys, that is an absolute pass, way smaller than the size of my fist, and the majority of them held perfect 0 right here. I feel like this is my fault kind of throwing them off a touch, but that did insanely well. In summary, this took an absolute beating and nothing walked loose. I mean, the mount held up perfectly. There is a little bit of scuffing on the sides of the optic, but that's to be expected. It absolutely held 0, no issues whatsoever. The emitter stayed on, although when I was beating it, these are really exposed because they're at a 45-degree offset. I actually was hitting the negative button and dropping it down into the night vision settings. So once I just clicked back up, I could find the dot again and it held 0. So not a problem with the optic. Just that's what happened during the test. I couldn't really see the dot anymore with the glasses just because it turned down low. But this was an absolute win. And for the price, especially with that code for this makes it the cheapest auto on and auto off red dot I've seen. And the technology is very comparable with some name brand optics. You can tell the minute you pick this up and shake it, it automatically turns on. I mean, just barely touching it, it turns on. 50,000 hour battery life, actually incredibly clear glass. This is competing with $150, $200 optics at sub like $70, especially when you add that code. Again, all of the information will be in the description below. This is hands down a budget winner. I get some complaints on the channel. You're always saying this is the best red dot under a certain number, or this is the best under a certain number. Well, as technology improves, as companies like Sealy get onto the market, these guys don't produce junk, and every single optic they produce is better or cheaper and better. So I mean, this company is really doing it well, especially with this new T3 with that 45-degree offset where the buttons are. The turrets are a little bit more exposed. Again, they have the T10, which is a little bit more protected, but you're going to spend more money on it. I think it runs about 85 bucks. So if you really were pushing the limits at $50, $60, it's worth spending the touch extra, especially if you use that code, and grab this. This is an amazing auto on and auto off red dot that I would actually trust and use. It's just been working out great. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.